In the grand chambers of the palace, golden lanterns flickered softly, casting warm patterns on the walls. The night stretched deep, yet King Shahryar remained awake, his eyes fixed on Scheherazade. "You are wise, Scheherazade," the king admitted, his voice carrying a trace of curiosity. "Each story you tell is more fascinating than the last." Scheherazade bowed her head humbly. "I am honored, my king, but the night is long and there are more wonders yet to hear." The king leaned back on his cushions, then continued, "What tale will you share next?" She smiled knowingly. "A tale of wit and wisdom, my king, of a humble fisherman who, against all odds, outsmarted a vengeful genie." The king's brow lifted slightly in intrigue. "A genie, you say? Very well, Scheherazade. Let us hear this tale." And so she began. The tale of the fisherman and the genie. Once upon a time, in a humble village by the sea, lived a poor fisherman. He was old but hardworking, casting his net into the waters 4 times a day in hopes of a good catch. One morning, as the golden sun rose over the waves, he cast his net for the first time. It pulled with all his might, but when he dragged it ashore, he found only mud and broken shells. Sighing, he tried again. This time, he pulled up a tangle of bones and seaweed. On his third attempt, he retrieved a few worthless stones. "Patience," he whispered to himself. "I still have one more chance." Summoning his last bit of strength, he cast the net a 4th time. It grew heavy, far heavier than any fish. Excitement surged through him. Had he caught something valuable? Struggling, he hauled in a large ancient brass jar, sealed with a lead stopper stamped with the symbol of King Solomon. His eyes widened. Could there be treasure inside? With trembling hands, he pried off the seal, but instead of gold or jewels, a thick, dark smoke erupted from the jar, twisting and coiling into the air. The fisherman stumbled backward as the smoke took form, stretching taller and taller until it became a towering genie, his face fierce, his eyes burning like embers. The genie laughed, his deep voice echoing over the waves. "Mortal, prepare to meet your doom." The fisherman gasped. "What? But I freed you." The genie's smile was cruel. "And for that, I shall grant you death." Back at the palace, King Shahryar furrowed his brow. A foolish genie indeed. What madness drives him to destroy his own savior? Scheherazade's eyes sparkled. "Madness, my king. Perhaps, or perhaps an oath made in despair. But to understand the genie's wrath, we must hear his tale." The king nodded, intrigued. "Then tell it swiftly, Scheherazade." And so she continued. The fisherman, though terrified, stood his ground. "Why would you harm me? I have done you no wrong." The genie's eyes gleamed with fury. "Long ago, I defied King Solomon. As punishment, he sealed me in this jar and cast me into the sea. At first, I swore to reward whoever freed me, but centuries passed and no one came. My rage grew. I vowed that if ever I were released, I would grant death to my rescuer." The fisherman's mind raced. He had freed a creature bent on revenge. But perhaps, just perhaps, he could outsmart him. The fisherman trembled as the genie's furious voice echoed over the waves. "For 400 years, I swore that if someone freed me, I would make him the richest man in the world. the genie bellowed. But centuries passed, and no one came. Then I vowed to grant my savior 3 wishes, but still no one freed me. Finally, in my rage, I swore that whoever released me would die at my hands. The fisherman's heart pounded. But that is not fair, he protested. I have done you a kindness, and you would repay me with death. The genie's fiery eyes narrowed. It is the will of fate. The fisherman knew he could not fight the genie's strength, but perhaps he could use his mind. He crossed his arms and tilted his head. I do not believe you were truly trapped in that little jar. The genie scowled. What? You are enormous. How could you possibly fit inside such a small vessel? The fisherman smirked. You are trying to trick me. The genie let out a thunderous laugh. Foolish mortal, I am a creature of great magic. I can take any shape, any size. Prove it, the fisherman challenged. If you truly came from this jar, then show me how you fit inside it. The genie's pride swelled. Very well, watch and be amazed. With a swirl of smoke, his massive form twisted and coiled, shrinking smaller and smaller until, whoosh, he had vanished completely inside the jar. Quick as lightning, the fisherman snatched the lead seal and clamped it back onto the jar. King Shahryar's eyes widened. Ha! A simple trick, but a brilliant one. Scheherazade smiled. Indeed, my king, for though strength is mighty, wisdom is mightier still. The king chuckled. And what did the fisherman do next? She folded her hands gracefully. Ah, my king. He stood over the sealed jar, listening to the genie's furious cries. Release me, mortal! The genie roared from inside the jar. You have won. Let me out, and I will reward you handsomely. The fisherman shook his head. Oh no, my friend. I have learned not to trust the promises of angry genies. And with that, he threw the jar with all his might far into the water. The fisherman, still shaken from his encounter with the genie, walked along the shore, his thoughts racing. He had barely escaped with his life, and yet fate seemed to have more in store for him. As he wandered, he spotted 3 elderly men seated beneath a twisted old tree. Their faces bore the weight of years and untold wisdom. When they saw him approach, they exchanged knowing glances. You look like a man who has seen wonders and survived dangers, one of them said. The fisherman nodded cautiously. Then, perhaps, another added with a grin, you would appreciate the tales we have to tell. In the grand palace, King Shahryar sat deep in thought, his fingers tracing the intricate patterns on the armrest of his throne. Scheherazade's voice had once again woven a spell over him, drawing him into the world of the fisherman and the vengeful genie. He had leaned forward, caught in the suspense of the tale, his heart pounding as the fisherman tricked his way to freedom. The king exhaled slowly, his curiosity still burning. And so the fisherman escaped, he mused, tilting his head toward Scheherazade. But what became of him? Did his journey end there? Scheherazade smiled knowingly. No, my king. His path led him to 3 mysterious old men, each with a tale more astonishing than the last. The king arched an eyebrow. 3 old men? Yes, she said, her eyes gleaming with intrigue. They had lived long and seen much, and on that very day, they chose to share their strange and wondrous stories. The king sat forward. Then you shall tell me that tale tomorrow night. And with that, the palace fell into silence once more. Join us next time as the three old men share their extraordinary and mysterious stories, tales of magic, fate, and the unbreakable bonds of destiny. What secrets will they reveal? Find out in the next tale of the Storyteller's Caravan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow Scheherazada's Tales from the Arabian Nights, where every story is a new adventure.